Most people know Ray Chamberlain as the larger-than-life AFL umpire with 300 games, including 24 finals and 3 grand finals under his belt. What most people don't know is that there is much more to Ray than meets the eye. Ray, through the course of his colourful career, has experienced both highs and lows. Challenges he's turned into lessons and strengths, which he now shares to educate and inspire others. Welcome, Ray.
G'day, Franco. How are you today?
Yeah, good. In this new environment that we're living in, how are you finding it?
It's it's a change. So my days. A couple of my staff joke they think that I'm in witness protection. They sort of think I've got these 3 different lives that I lead, and which is very true. And the only way I'm able to do it, because I'm not particularly expert at anything, Franco, to be honest, but I'm really fortunate that I've got incredibly talented people around me in my different parts of my world.
Yeah. And
so then that just allows me to rock along and just do what I do, which is essentially stand upright, breathe, and be myself. So the way in which that now is filled throughout the day has had to evolve dramatically. And so just trying to take a moment, go slow, and unpack it all and go, actually, what does this actually mean right now? And what are the things that I need to change, and what can stay the same? So, a little bit of reflecting and a bit of an audit, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are feeling that it's on a positive. They're sort of thinking it's quite a good way of slowing down, isn't it? Just slowing down and actually reflecting, isn't it? Like on one level. Yeah,
and I think one of the points that I've been talking to a lot of clients. I have a mortgage broking and financial services business that we've had for 15 years. And so you can imagine we've been inundated with calls and having to communicate with clients and what's going on and how this affects my loan, or, what can I get access to that the government's offering, et cetera, et cetera. So that, along with everything that you're seeing on social media or different platforms, is very noisy. And so one of the tasks I've tried to set myself is to block a lot of that out, shut a lot of that stuff out, and that's not to isolate other than what we're being required to do by the government, but rather just get rid of the stuff that's irrelevant, that can distract you, that can increase your level of anxiety or uncertainty, and focusing on the things that are true. So that's been a big part of the last 2 weeks for me, is getting into a fact-finding mission. What is real? What do I know? Because there's a lot of stuff that we don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that's a very useful way of sort of thinking about what's controllable, control the controllables in a way, isn't it? And get the information, isn't it, that allows us to control what we can control. And there's a whole range of things we can't we? That's right.
Absolutely. And so, that's been step one in at the Chamberlain household anyway, has been just an audit. And that can be on every level. Okay. That can be with the family. All right. We're all stuck in this house now. Some people have a backyard. Some people live in apartments or townhouses. Now, all of a sudden they take off in the morning and they head out and they go about their every day. They're not allowed to at the moment. All right. We're all stuck in here. We've all got to function. What does that mean? So, and if you don't have these audits and you don't have these conversations and collaborations with those people who are in your environment with you and in your life, you don't listen with the intent to hear, but you're listening with the intent to respond, then that can be quite clunky.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we've had a little bit of, clean whiteboard. Let's go. And just throwing everything on that whiteboard, right? And going, okay, how do we make this work so that everyone's felt accommodated?
Yeah.
And everyone feels as though they've been heard, and everyone's got an opportunity to go about their new existence, which is what it is at the moment, while we're in this space.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way of thinking about it too, because in a way you've sort of said, this is not something that's not normal that we experience, in a sense. It's not something which we've experienced ever before. And so it's you do have to go to the whiteboard and have a clean slate and say, okay, where do we start from here? 0, 1. Yeah. Yeah.
And it will evolve, Franco. Like, so what works for us today, right? Brilliant. Terrific. Who knows? Like, I've got some friends in France who, professional footballers, and, you know, they aren't allowed to leave their yard and their house, right? So you have to have a document.
That's right. Document. That's right.
And otherwise, the coppers pull you over and bang, you cop a fine and you get in trouble and rah, rah, rah. So, you know, at the moment, sadly, I can still train. So I'm being required to go and train and get on the bike or go for a run or whatever. I've got to be isolated and not with anyone else. But there's still that outlet where you can get out for exercise. That's one of the 4 things here in Victoria that permits you the opportunity to go outside of your house. So so things could change with that. Yeah, and as the government have to respond in the best interests of the community based on the impact of this pandemic, okay, that is incredibly unpredictable, then those conversations and that whiteboard work, that'll have to evolve again. So I think you just got to understand that nothing's set in stone at the minute and embrace that.
Yeah. So Ray, I'd like to take you back to the day when you found out that the AFL is going to be paused probably indefinitely for this year. How did you feel?
Yeah, I was this level of emptiness, and then and just, okay, what does this mean? Like, what? So I just think, like every person out there, you know, I don't think the AFL industry is any different to the retail industry, to the travel industry, to the hospitality industry. Like, it was just, okay, what are the implications of this? What does this actually mean? And, you know, there's all that personal stuff about, I had this game round 3. Now I'm not going to be able to umpire that game. That doesn't really matter. Like, move on from that really quickly. But, you know, immediately you sort of start to turn to things like, all right, well, you know, how's this going to impact on me and my family? I've got commitments. We've all got financial commitments. All of those sorts of things. And so I guess all those questions, those noisy questions, just start rattling around in between your ears. Yeah. And you're trying to figure out, what are the facts? Yeah? Because it's easy to wind up, you know, that anxiety and that panic and that concern. And that can get out of control really quickly. But that was what it was at the start. Before we left, so we found out before we left Etihad Stadium, or Marvel Stadium, sorry, as it is now, on the Sunday. So the coach came in and said, hey, they've pulled the pin on it. And so really right then it was more around, just because we had some young people there, and just getting around them and saying, hey, you know, don't be a stranger, stay connected, get home, look after your family, get that sorted first. Those sorts of comments. I was driving home just going, where's all this going to go now? So it was more around questions, I think.
Yeah. I guess that is that sense of, you know, talking about earlier about sense of loss, you know, and what we're grappling with at the moment is a loss of what we had, you know, a period of life that we were living in, very, very recent, and then an unexpected shock happens, and then it's almost like a death, isn't it? Like it's a loss, isn't it? And you're grappling with loss, isn't it?
To a point, totally. And so then, you know, so now we always have choices, yeah? No matter how futile or hopeless a situation may be, we're still all left with choices. So what I've learned probably in the last 72 hours in particular, just reflecting on my current situation in different parts of my life, whilst what we had, we're not doing that at the moment. Okay. These parameters and restrictions and events have meant that that's not rolling the way it was, but it's created something else, Franco. Right. So there've been these other things. So, you know, I'm walking with my daughter every morning. We're playing board games and laughing at the table and eating together at nearly every meal, which we haven't done for 7 years. So you can now lament the loss and get burdened and hung up on that, or you can embrace the opportunity that is presented by these change of circumstances that you have no control over. So don't fight it. That's futile, right? There's no fighting it. So embrace what is now. And me personally, I'm finding that to be a more beneficial mindset or way of going about what is this next 3, 6, 9, 12 months.
Yeah, it's in a sense you just have to almost like you have to recalibrate, don't you? Like it's
absolutely you do. Yeah, 100%. And just drop what was, right? Let's let that go.
Yeah.
And more focus on what is now, because that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of that question in a way of just breaking it down, isn't it? Like how do you prepare for the next few weeks? How do you prepare for the next few months and beyond? So, like, what are you sort of doing at the moment to prepare yourself for that? Do you set goals? Do you set parameters around that, or how do you?
Look, I think we're all different, right? So for me, it was described to me yesterday by a really intelligent lady who I had a great Zoom conference with. And she goes, Ray, you're that classic left side of the brain guy, right? You love the structure, time frames, rules, parameters, goals, targets, blah, blah, blah. That, you seem to thrive with that. And it does. It gives me a sense of security and safety. And I find I'm more purposeful. I feel safer and more at ease when I'm following some sort of set path. But then you take my daughter, and she's more of a creative type. So if I bang all these time frames in for her, right, she will fight that. She hates that. That doesn't work for her. So she needs to okay, I understand I've got all these things I've got to do, my everyday tasks, feed the dog, walk the dog, unpack the dishwasher, learning, all that sort of stuff that she's got to do, right? But let her go about it in her way, in her time. Free that up, and she'll be happier. She'll get it done. She knows it's there, but don't tell her it's got to be done at 7 o'clock. She might be thinking PM, not AM, But for me personally, I thrive on those micro moments, breaking things down.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that end goal. Don't worry about. You've got to set those things. We know what it is, but then I like to reverse engineer. So live in the moment. So I've got some friends who are doing 4 things a day. All right. I'll do one thing of exercise. They do one thing for the business. They do one thing with family. They do one thing for self. And they're just leaving it at that. They go, I can achieve that, Ray. I can bite that off. I can chew it. I can get through that. I've got a little bit more structure because otherwise I wig out.
I mean, I guess one of the key things around that, though, I quite like that idea of the micro moments because, in a way, it sort of lends itself a little bit to when I work with a lot of clients in therapy. In a way, is trying to break it down for people.
Yep.
Because even no matter what sort of personality type you have, it might be some people might find that easier, but for some other people, that I find it also a good strategy that people that aren't structured in a way to sort of even break things down in a way that allows them to access what the issue is and the solution. And sometimes we get lost a bit in all the uncertainty of it, and breaking it down into sort of chunks of things.
Yep.
Like the way you said about your friends, there's 4 things I do in a day, and I'll break it up that way. Really quite useful. What are you noticing with people that you're talking to in your business and just generally friends? What do you think people are needing right now at this moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think like an anchor almost, because things have been tossed on their head so much.
Yeah.
There's this fluidity and unknowns and, things are changing so rapidly. There's so much noise, misinformation, et cetera, et cetera. I think people that I'm talking to, particularly with business, okay, like we're contacting, we're their point of call for guidance. They're looking for clarity, but ultimately an anchor, something that they can go, boom, okay. I'm starting here. Here's my base. I work from here. So doing some planning and keeping it really simple there. I think people are looking. I've got no doubt they're looking for some positivity. People are, there's an overwhelming sense of sadness. I fielded a lot of calls, not so much this week, but last week, where there was a lot of emotion. People were, and again, that came from uncertainty, anxiety, fear.
Yeah.
And so we had to really break down some personal stuff for them, and set some rules for themselves to adhere to, and then provide them with some facts that got rid of the noise. Just focus on the facts.
Yeah.
So just I think some structure in that sense has provided a real anchoring for people where they're wigging out and whizzing around a little bit, and they were able to center a bit and slow down and go, okay, this isn't as dramatic as I thought it was going to be. Oh, I can see some light there. Yes, that will help. So trying to do a little bit of that. We've been really keen on people to undertake, a systems check of themselves, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I was talking to a gentleman who, he's a ripper. He's got a surfing background, right? I don't think he owns shoes. Every time I see him, he's barefoot. He's like a hobbit. It's the weirdest thing in the history of the world. And but he's such a smart guy.
Yeah.
And he was talking about our mental health, right? Yeah. And he goes, Ray, in these times, the body doesn't lie to us, right? And he's really keen on a systems check. And he goes, now, not one thing is an alarm bell. Just the same with your car, right? But if you get 3 to 5 of these things that aren't quite right, that's your body telling you something. It'll give you signs and a heads up in advance. And, he was talking about, your sleep, your weight, your appetite, your libido, energy levels, digestion, those types of key physical indicators. And just checking in on those in comparison to what is normal for you, not for anyone else. But if you've got 3 to 5 of those that are popping up with a little bit of a light, then the call to action comes to place, which is check in with your GP, check in with your trusted friend. Maybe it's your wife, maybe it's a mentor, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's your accountant. So just some systems checks for people in terms of their own physical and mental wellness.
Yeah. It's really interesting to say, because I often, when I get clients to come in with anxiety or depression, or I always ask them, what purpose does it serve? Because it's there for a reason. It's serving a purpose, and it's like I ask them to be curious about it, like almost like you're saying, well, like your friend saying, what's curious, be curious about the science. If something's changed, or what's happening. And I think this element, sometimes people feel that they get worried about it, but just maybe the flexibility is to be curious about it, like to be, okay, what's going on here? What's happening, so to speak?
Absolutely. I think one of the things I've learned over the last 7 to 10 years in this whole space, and I was incredibly ignorant around mental wellness, and I didn't know what anxiety was. I had no idea what mindfulness meant. I didn't understand why, if I swore in a sentence, okay, and not aggressively, but just, because I was being lazy with my elocution, why did that trigger something for my partner, my wife? Why did that set her up? I didn't understand what that was about and how that related to her when she was a child.
Yeah.
And so through life experiences and some bits and pieces in our life, I was forced to have to upskill myself. Okay. I had to learn, I had to go to my toolkit, and I had to get some more tools in there. I had to learn some stuff to help me personally, and then to help and be a benefit to people in my life. And one of the things that I found to be incredibly useful, apart from, and there are many, but finding the evidence. So anxiety it can be a raft of things to people, and it's real. It's so real. But a really great strategy is to, okay, as you talk about being curious, but also find the evidence. What's the evidence of this current situation? And is it because we catastrophize. When you get anxious, it builds up and it gathers momentum, it snowballs. and can turn into panic, associated depression, etc. And so one of the stopgap measures can be what are the facts? What is the evidence here? So I'm big on that. I also love this whole notion around connecting with a focused solution or positivity. Now that's not to dismiss negative thoughts, because if you're having those, it's important that you do talk to people who are trusted, people who are qualified. It might be your wife, it might be your husband, it might be your best mate, or it could be your counsellor, psychologist, GP, right? Depending on the severity. So it's not to ignore the negative thoughts or feelings that you're having or the troubles, but trying to connect with the positive things and trying to remain focus orientated.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice.
Solution. What's the solution? Focus on the solution. What's the outcome here that we're looking for? Don't worry about getting caught up in the noise. Focus on the solution.
Yeah, that's great. Look, probably the last question I had was because of your connection to sport and how sport changes the world. And I quite like when you talk about sport changes the world, the impact of sport, particularly at the elite level, is greater and far wider reaching than what happens in 2 hours on the field. I really like that statement. And there's something about the connection to sport that we have lost during this time, isn't it? More than AFL, the AFLW and NRL, but the grassroots. So what stories are you hearing about that, and what words of hope can you offer to individuals and the broader community around that?
Well, it is like sport and sporting clubs, whether it's at the elite level or grassroots, it's like it provides people with purpose, right? And particularly those who are most vulnerable in our communities as well at times. And so not being able to engage in those in our traditional sense that we're accustomed to can be quite confronting. I'll give an example of some of the stuff that we're involved in, right? So AFL field umpires, we've got like a bit of a group chat. And so it used to be about something you might have, a rule, some sort of anomaly might have come up. And so you'd whack it on there and everyone was aware of it. Hey, listen, this happened on the Friday night game, FYI, boom, 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 boom. And it was just an education and communication piece. But that's evolved into links into video conferencing for in-house weights programs, blokes fancy dress and they're on stationary exercise bikes. We've got in number order, because we've got numbers on our shirts, 1 through 34. We've got song of the day, right? So today was Skater Boy. Skater Boy got a run today. That's the song of the day with the AFL umpires today. Avril Lavigne, Skater Boy. So we're doing those sorts of things, those sorts of fun things to stay in contact with one another, where we don't have to necessarily be here like us here talking and what have you, but you've had an impact and you've touched one another in a certain way each day. Yeah. And I'm hearing lots of those types of examples with different footy clubs, different cricket clubs, netball, etc. So I think be creative with this, with the social networking apps that we have to remain in contact. We don't want people being isolated. We don't want people being on their own, particularly those who don't live with family or don't have a partner.
Yeah.
You know, they're the ones stuck at home on their own. You know, that's it's really important we're reaching out to those people. So they're the sorts of things that we're seeing.
Yeah. That's great. Well, it's a great observation. Any last words from your perspective that you want to sort of articulate back to?
Yeah, I jotted a couple of things down when I was thinking about it, like having my coffee before we caught up, and I think this is true, right? Like everyone's taken a hit. They go, I haven't come across too many people that in 18 months' time, Franco, are going to look back and go, mate, that was the best 18 months of my life. Right? There won't be too many people that are going to be saying that, all right? And I think there can be some comfort people in that. Hey, you're not actually on your own with this, you know? And one of the upsides, I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she was saying, Ray, I'm one of the potential 2 million that has lost their job, she's got 4 kids. And she's going, but, you know, Ray, one comfort I'm taking out of is that this is en masse. And as a result, we're being supported. We're being supported by government. We're being supported by employers, blah, blah, blah. So there's that. I also think that there's opportunity in every day, Franco.
Mm.
And there are these little moments that in other days when we're so busy driving somewhere or so busy getting to the next thing, we may very well have walked past and missed.
Mm.
But given the fact that we aren't able to travel anywhere or what have you, I'm trying to challenge myself to use my eyes, use my ears, use my head and my heart to not miss these moments. I saw my daughter laugh her face off last night over, we're playing Pass the Pen, and she thought it was hilarious that her mum didn't know what Big Ben was, right? Which I also think's hilarious, right? She won't be thinking it's funny that I'm talking about it now. But watching my daughter's reaction to that and actually being part of that and seeing that was gold.
Yeah.
Now, I'd have been racing to a meeting. I'd have been racing to training. I'd have been racing somewhere had it not been for the circumstances surrounding us. And I'd have missed that. And there are many of those little moments along the way every single day. And so I'm challenging myself to not miss them, right? But to actually grab them, embrace them, and experiencing them.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I'd say to people is if you do find yourself in a rut though, and that's totally reasonable and it's totally understandable and to be expected, you deserve help. So every single person out there deserves to be supported. And I can't say that strongly enough. So, for people out there who are having a tough time, reach out and get professional help. Reach out to your GP and act on it, right? Like seriously, you deserve to be supported. And this will end, right? It will.